everyone, it's your girl Queen Monroe, and we're back today with another video. So today's video is going to be the foundation of not only our YouTube channel, but it's pretty much the foundation of the entire Red Carpet Curls platform, and that is the curly girl method. Today we're going to get into what the method is, how to start it, and even all the variations of the method, because let's be honest, the curly girl method's been out for over 10 years, and of course there have been many variations. So I'm going to explain all the details and all the science behind your hair so that you can understand the method and its variations to pretty much make this the decision on what's best for you. So let's get into off the bat, and as always, all the videos are accompanied by articles on redcarpetcurls.com. So for today's video, I'm going to be following my notes from the actual article on redcarpetcurls.com entitled "What is the Curly Girl Method?" So it's gonna list everything I talk about today. So if you want the written part of this video, you can just click the hyperlink in the description box below and it will send you straight to the article. So let's just jump into what the method is. So the curly girl method is essentially what I like to say is a set of guidelines on the proper maintenance of naturally textured hair. So naturally textured hair, if you don't already know, is all hair that comes out of your head naturally that is not straight. So that includes waves, curls, coils, and kinky hair. Basically anything that's not naturally straight. So if you look at my head, I have curly hair. I have fine, high porosity 3A, 3B curls. So my hair would be considered naturally textured. So the reason you need a method for naturally textured hair is it's really bonkers once we get down to it. So about 90% of the market focuses on straight hair. So straight hair needs the ingredients will be more for straight hair, and yeah, all for straight hair. But when you get down to it, it doesn't work for naturally textured hair. And there's one reason. Naturally textured hair is far more dry than straight hair. And the reason is our texture. So our scalp naturally produces oils called sebum. And this sebum is produced in your scalp to trickle all the way down your hair strands, all the way to the ends, and basically condition and moisturize your scalp and your hair. So when you have straight hair and there's no creases or any kind of texture in the hair, it's very easy for the oil to make it all the way from the scalp down to the ends. Now, when you have naturally textured hair like mine, it has a lot of, twirls and ridges and everything. It's going to take a lot longer for the oil to get from right here all the way down my hair, because it's going to make its way down all the little loops and twirls and coils. So obviously we're just not going to have enough time for our hair to get conditioned with those natural oils. So therefore we have to supplement our hair with added moisture and protein and oils like we do in the method. Straight hair doesn't have that problem, so they don't need to do it. So therefore most of the products on the market just won't work for us. About 90% of the market just won't work, especially because all those products contain the stuff that the curly girl method tells you to avoid. So here are the concrete rules for the curly girl method. So according to Lorraine Massey, who was the creator of Diva Curl and the curly girl method, well, she wasn't really the creator of the method. She more brought the method to the market. She brought the method to the masses, basically. And when she created Diva Curl, there were 3 basic rules in the Curly Girl Handbook that she tells you for the method. And the 3 rules are to avoid these 3 ingredients: no sulfates, no silicones, and no parabens. This is to go in conjunction with absolutely no heating tools on your hair at all. No straightening irons, no curling irons. You can use a hair dryer, but it has to be on cool or low heat. And of course, it has to be in conjunction with a curly hair diffuser. And if you don't know what a diffuser is more like a little bowl that you put on top of the hair dryer, and it diffuses the air in a different way than it would just out of the hair dryer, just like that. That helps us to dry our hair in a more unique way, which helps us to keep our pattern and keep our hair frizz free. when you are following the curly girl method, you are to avoid all heating tools. You are to avoid sulfates, silicones, and parabens. Those are the concrete rules. Now let's get into the variations of the method, because once you pick your variation, this is going to determine what your concrete rules will look like. So let's get into the original curly girl method. The original curly girl method, also known as the no poo method or simply strict CGM, was introduced in the handbook by Lorraine Massey. This method calls for removing all forms of shampoo completely, including sulfate-free shampoos. Instead, the handbook tells you to use alternate forms of cleansing, such as apple cider vinegar rinses, lemon rinses, and co-washing. They even mention using baking soda in the Curly Girl Method handbook, but I would not advise using baking soda simply because baking soda is very alkaline. It is very strong. And if you use too much of it in your hair, it can damage your hair, it can dry it out and cause breakage. So you don't want anything too extreme in your hair. The theory behind the strict curly girl method is that most on the market conditioners are formulated not only with conditioning ingredients, but with very mild cleansing ingredients, surfactants. So this is the theory behind co-washing. Since all conditioners contain some form of mild surfactant, on some level it is able to clean a little bit, at least surface clean. The original method also prohibits the use of styling tools such as combs and brushes like the Denman brush or the wet brush. The original curly girl method also tells you to use your fingers to detangle your hair and to apply any product. You should only use your fingers if you're going to be following the strict CG method. So just to sum it up, strict CG method is co-washing only and using other sources, other alternative methods of cleansing, such as baking soda, apple cider vinegar rinses, or lemon rinses. Also going to be completely avoiding heat tools. You're going to be avoiding any other kinds of styling tools, such as combs and any brushes like the Denman brush and the wet brush. This is where we transition into modified CG. So obviously, modifications of this method have come about because many people have realized when studying the science behind curly hair or even just following the method, co-washing alone does not work for everyone. So one thing I want to stress is that every single person needs some shampoo in their life. I am not trying to be that stickler like, oh, don't follow the method. I follow the method, just modified. I refuse to let go of my sulfate-free clarifying shampoo because science tells us that co-washing alone deposits moisture into the hair. So it's going to keep depositing. That means your hair is going to get more and more weighed down. It's going to get more greasy. And it's just not going to ever truly deep clean your hair the way it needs to be. So the handbook tells you to fix this situation by using lemon rinses or apple cider vinegar rinses, simply because lemon juice and apple cider vinegar are very acidic. They are going to cut through any buildup and reset the pH of your scalp. Now, the reason I don't ever recommend following the strict CG method is because if you do not properly measure the apple cider vinegar rinse or the lemon rinse, it's going to be far too drying for your hair, and it's basically going to cause dry split ends and even breakage in extreme cases. So when you do apple cider vinegar rinses, I will have a video on how to do it. Please don't ever just open the apple cider vinegar bottle and just start, pouring. Don't do that. All apple cider vinegar rinses and all lemon rinses need to be diluted with lots and lots of water. I will show you how to do that in coming videos. But for now, I just want to tell you those are the facts. Modified CG is making the modified changes you need. So for me, it was keeping my sulfate-free clarifying shampoo to keep the balance. All hair needs to be shampooed at least once a month to keep the actual buildup from forming and taking over, and to keep your hair and scalp balanced at all times, because a balanced scalp is a happy and healthy scalp. So modified CG is essentially modifying the original method with what makes you feel comfortable. So, for example, in the beginning of my method, finger detangling did not work for me. I used a Denman brush that allowed me to focus on my product application and see what parts of my hair needed to be finger coiled and what parts needed more product, needed more water, stuff like that. So if you're struggling with your definition through your transition phase or you're just starting out, definitely if you want to follow the modified CG regimen, you can use combs or brushes like the Denman brush or the wet brush. You can use shampoo instead of co-washing only. Um, the modified CG method for some, not me. I don't like to do this at all, but some people like to use water soluble silicones. So the difference between water soluble silicones and regular silicones is that water soluble silicones will come right out when you rinse your hair with water or when you wash it with shampoo. Whereas most silicones like dimethicone are going to stay in your hair no matter what until you get a sulfate free anionic surfactant or clarifying shampoo to remove it. Essentially, modified CGM is customizing the method to your specific preferences, what works for you. This method is going to be very individualized for everyone. It's going to be very different for everyone. There are some people out there that can co-wash only and have great hair. There's some people like me, which that does not work for. My hair needs to be shampooed at least once a month. The modifications are really up to you. Co-washing is best for when you have your hair is dry or you really don't have buildup in your hair. You just want extra moisture in your hair, or you really just want to redo your hair that day, like a refresh or something. Co-washing is best for situations like that. Modified CGM is following the core of the curly girl method. So that means no heating tools, no sulfates, no silicones, and no parabens. That is the core curly girl method. Now, when you modify the method, everything outside of that is just going to be extra stuff you do. For example, I am modified CGM. So I don't ever use heating tools in my hair. When I use an actual hair dryer, it is on low heat with a diffuser. I don't use any water soluble silicones and stuff like that. It's just not me. But I do choose to avoid 3 extra ingredients besides the initial 3. So I'm also avoiding drying alcohols because drying alcohols essentially dry out your hair and make your hair split into 2 and break off. I avoid synthetic waxes. Simply because they act like silicones. They encase the hair strand in this film that will not be removed unless it is clarified out with a clarifying shampoo. And that is just to keep the moisture in the hair as long as possible. But when you don't have any moisture left in your hair and you have wax, encasing it, it's going to make it impossible to moisturize. So that leads to dry hair and breakage. And I also avoid mineral oil and petroleum. And that is because mineral oil acts just like silicone does and just like synthetic waxes do. They encase the hair to keep the moisture in there as long as possible. But again, the problem is when there is no more moisture in that hair, you're encasing dry hair and making it impossible to moisturize. So as part of my modified curly girl method routine, I avoid sulfates, silicones, parabens, waxes, and that does not include emulsified waxes. Emulsified waxes, like the emulsified sunflower seed wax in the Diva Curl Deep Sea Repair, that is okay. Emulsified waxes mean they have been broken down so much that they are water soluble. They will rinse out with water. Any other synthetic waxes are not okay. No sulfates, no silicones, no parabens, no drying alcohols, no mineral oil or petroleum, and no synthetic waxes. That is what I follow. That is part of modified CGM. And if you want more info on that or my specific hair care routine, that is available on redcarpetcurls.com. Now let's jump into the final wash. But essentially the final wash is a concept that was created in Curly Girl Method Facebook groups. So the thinking behind this was that sulfates are the only things that remove silicones. That is not true. That is misinformation. Sulfates are the most popular form of surfactant put in shampoos to remove all buildup. And the reason they're the most popular is because they are cheap to manufacture. So of course that increases the profits for the companies. Now, sulfates are not the only thing to remove silicones. Sulfates are the most popular choice in a group of surfactants called anionic surfactants. Anionic surfactants are strong cleansers, both sulfate and sulfate-free cleansers. It's a group of them that are strong enough to remove all buildup, silicone buildup, mineral water, hard water buildup, product buildup, you name it. It will remove it. So since the sulfates are the cheapest to make, they are the most common. Now, in Facebook groups, the theory got around that they were the only ones. It's not true. If you would have looked up the science behind it, and this is why I always give you guys journal articles and stuff, because you don't want to be led by misinformation. The actual fact is anionic surfactants remove all silicones. So anionic surfactants can be found in sulfate-free clarifying shampoos. So the most common sulfate-free anionic surfactant found in clarifying shampoos is sodium olefin C14C16. I know it looks like a sulfate, but trust me, it is not. It is a sulfate-free anionic surfactant that will remove all buildup, including silicone buildup. So that just tells you right there, the final wash is not necessary. And finally, final thoughts when it comes to the method. The curly girl method can be your best friend. I started the method 2.5 years ago and my hair has changed so dramatically. And my hair is totally different. My skin is totally different. My entire life is completely different because of the curly girl method. And I know it can be that way for you too. I know a lot of people say, oh, the method didn't work for me. It's not the method. It's just you haven't found the right variation of the method yet. So that's the hope I want to give you. There are variations to the curly girl method. You choose what feels right for you, and I promise you, this method will love you just as much as you love the method. I am in love with the method, and it is in love with me, obviously. Let me stop. I'm getting a little full of myself. But yeah, that's everything you need to know about the curly girl method. I hope that answers all your questions. If it did not, please comment your question below. I will get to that question for you. And as always, please make sure you subscribe to not only this channel, but the Red Carpet Curls website. The Red Carpet Curls website will always have all the facts before the videos. So if you ever want to get a head start on what videos are coming here, make sure to check out redcarpetcurls.com. That's it for me today. I'm Queen Monroe. It's been so much fun. Mwah. I hope you have an amazing curl day, and until next time.